This recording is not for everyone. It is for those who have reached the highest levels of what the world calls success and found a silent question waiting there. It is for the CEO, founder, director, the visionary, for one who manages empires yet senses a subtle poverty within. If you are still seeking a better tool, a sharper strategy, a more efficient way to manage your reality, this is not for you. Please seek a brilliant executive coach. They will serve you well. This is for the one who intuits that the problem is not out there. The problem is the very belief that you are separate from life. It's an invitation to a story. And within it, you will recognize a call, or you won't. Both are perfect. The story. The Sufi and the managers. Some years ago, I witnessed something I will never forget. At a spirituality for leaders conference, a room filled with over 100 top-tier executives. Each had paid a small fortune to be there, seeking something, inspiration, perhaps an edge. A speaker took the stage, a Sufi, a man whose presence seemed less like a person and more like life itself, draped in simple, colorful robes that seemed both out of place and utterly correct. He did not smile a salesman's smile. He gazed into a room with a terrifying tenderness. He asked a simple question. By a show of hands, who here is suffering? A profound silence. You could hear the hum of the air conditioning. Not a single hand went up. Of course not. These were masters of the universe. They had the house, the car, the portfolio, the title, the control. To raise a hand would be an admission of failure in the very game they had won. Sophie nodded slowly, as if this was the most expected and the most tragic of answers. You wish to know, he continued, his voice soft, yet filling every corner, how to leave behind a subtle, relentless discontent. You wish for a sustainable joy, an inner anchor, a sense of being unconditionally held, regardless of your stock price, your market share, the state of your marriage, or the accolades on your wall. You've already discovered that satisfying desires does not bring this. You're not inside, even if your public face cannot. He paused, letting the unspoken confession hang in the air. I cannot explain this to you in a way your mind will understand, he said. The truth is not understandable. It is absorbable. Perhaps I should remain silent. He looked at the sea of expensive suites and determined faces. But you have paid money, you sit in expectation, so I will tell you. He leaned forward, his presence intensifying. Imagine yourself brought to your absolute knees, not by one loss, but by a series: health, love, fortune, meaning, all crumbling. And each time you fought back. You used your will, your intelligence, your next management technique. You told yourself, I am the master of my fate. You looked in the mirror each morning and convinced the face you saw that it was victorious, even when it felt like a lie. And now imagine that final utter exhaustion, when the fight is gone, when you are so broken that the I who manages, controls and strives has nothing left. It is defeated. And in that moment of absolute surrender, then there is no strategy left. You do something simple. You stop looking outward for salvation. You turn your awareness inward. Just a fraction. And you whisper, not even knowing to whom, help me. You extend a hand, an empty hand, a hand with no demand, only a surrendered plea. His eyes seemed to glow. It is only in that emptiness, in that true poverty of spirit, that a space is created. And it can happen then that a spark falls into that open hand. Not a thought, not a strategy, a spark of God. A spark of your own forgotten self. And with it comes the simplest, most ancient knowing: you have been looking in the wrong direction all along. He then referenced the timeless wisdom bridging the gap for the intellect in the room. The great physicist David Bohm put it thus: deep down, the consciousness of mankind is one. One. This is not poetry. This is the reality your senses cannot show you. Albert Einstein echoed it. A human being is a part of the whole called by us universe. You are not a separate fragment managing an external world. You are the whole, dreaming it as a fragment. The ancient Yoga Sutras describe this beautifully. At birth, the true self retreats to a silent tower within the heart, while the I thought ascends to the head, takes control of the senses, and forgets its source. it lives in a reduced reality. 3 dimensions, linear time. But ask any modern physicist, how many dimensions are there? "11? More?" Google M theory. Does time even exist as we think it does? Stephen Hawking questioned its linear flow. Werner Heisenberg proved at the quantum level that the observer and the observed are entangled. The separation you take for granted is the fundamental illusion. He let this seismic thought settle. Your I, your ego, he said gently, is like a CEO who believes he owns the company, unaware of the silent, luminous shareholder who holds all the stock. That shareholder is in the tower of your own heart. And one day, perhaps at the very end, on your deathbed, the CEO will be retired. All your achievements, your titles, your controlled outcomes, they will be stripped away. What will remain? Only the emotional residue, the fleeting moments you were actually present, in flow, in love, in wonder, in true connection. For most, when summed, it amounts to shockingly little, a day or two of a lifetime. Then his tone shifted. He looked at them not as a teacher, but as life itself, with a compassion so fierce it felt like a challenge. But you, he said, a faint, sorrowful smile on his lips, you are not there yet. You have it all under control, don't you? So you will listen to this now. You'll perhaps be amused. Look at me in my simple robes. Weigh my words against your quarterly reports. Think what a curious fellow. And that is okay. He delivered the final line, not with bitterness, but with the devastating clarity of a surgeon's cut. And after this, you will go down to the underground garage. You will get into your luxury car, your Boliden, as we say in German, your Porsche, your Ferrari, your Mercedes, and you will drive right back into your shitty life. The silence that followed was not empty, it was full. It was the sound of 100 fortified identities cracking just a little in the unseen places. Thank you. This is Hans. CV 2025. The first part of the story. Now comes the second part. Thank you. Hello, this is Hans again. The bridge from their story to yours, part 2. That story is not mine, but the silence that followed it, that silence is my home. I was in that room. I saw the tremor that went through certain souls when that last sentence landed. Not a tremor of offense, but of recognition. A silent inner yes behind the eyes that no corporate mask could fully hide. Those are the ones I speak to now. Perhaps you are one of them. You have built your tower of achievement stone by stone, and yet, in a quiet moment, you feel a draft, a sense that you are living in the anteroom of your own existence. You manage the horizontal plane brilliantly. Transactions, strategies, milestones. But the vertical dimension, the depth, the connection to a source of meaning itself, feels like a theory or weekend retreat phenomenon. I'm here to tell you it is not. It is your native state. The witness, your state of being. Let me be frank about why I can say this. By any standard external measure of success, my own life's trajectory might make you curious. It has been a path of profound contrasts, of navigating the world with a perception that often saw the solution long before it understood the problem. I have known limitation. I have known what it is to operate from a place the world might call a disadvantage. And yet, I tell you this from lived breath by breath experience. I now spend 80-90% of my waking life in a state of unconditional contentment. A happiness that is independent of external conditions. It is not a mood, it is the ground of my being. I could be in a penthouse, a small, simple room, in a boardroom, or in silence, and the fullness remains. It is not my achievement. It is what remains when the frantic, deficit-based I subsides and allows the true self, the shareholder in the tower, to assume its rightful place. It is not a special gift. It is your birthright. You have just been trained to ignore it. The core realization from a deficit to overflow. The managerial mind is a deficit mind. It asks, what is missing? What problem must we solve? What need must we fill? It believes that adding something, more data, more control, more outcomes, will complete the equation. The self knows no deficit. It is an eternally overflowing vessel. From this state, action does not arise from need, but from generosity. Love is not a transaction to meet a need, but a quantum phenomenon, a non-instrumentalizable light that radiates because it is its nature to radiate. You do not pursue flow, you become available to it and it carries you. This is the shift from the exhausting labor of pushing the river to a breathtaking grace of being carried by it. The problems you currently see as unsolvable in your business, in your life, are simply patterns of energy awaiting this shift in perception. They are not solved, they are dissolved in a larger context of coherence. The deeper why, the ripple through the world. Now you might ask, if this state is so simple and available, why offer guidance? Why speak? For this reason alone, because you are a leader. Your inner state is not a private matter. It is a force field that shapes the reality of everyone you lead. Every employee, every colleague, every stakeholder operates within the ecosystem of your consciousness. When you shift from deficit to overflow, from control to trust, from separation to connection, you do not just change your life, you change the gravitational pull of your entire organization. You begin to lead from what I call powerful humility, the strength of Lao Tzu sage, who steps back so the people can say, we did this ourselves. You create conditions where hearts can re-engage, where creativity is unlocked, not by incentive schemes, but by shared purpose and safety. And this is not ultimately about profit margins or market share, as vital as those are. This is about the unseen ripple. Now my favorite, the ultimate ripple for the children. The most profound ripple reaches places metrics cannot measure. Imagine the employee who goes home from a workplace led by this consciousness. They are not drained, anxious, or wearing a mask. They are present. They have a residue of dignity, of peace. They walk through their front door and their child looks up. That child does not see a job title or a quarterly report. They feel a field of presence. They feel safety. They feel a love that asks for nothing in return. In that atmosphere, a child's innate joy, the innate sense of being unconditionally held by life, is not crushed, it is confirmed. This is the legacy that transcends your lifetime. It is not about leaving a company in your will. It is about leaving a resonance of wholeness in the nervous systems of the future. You're not just fixing a business problem. You are participating in the healing of a deeply fragmented world. One circle of influence at a time, beginning with your own being. My invitation to you, non-intentional but specific. This then is the call my work answers. Visual alchemy. It is not about giving you visions. It is about clearing the lens of your own perception so you see with the eyes of the whole. It is for the leader who has heard the Sufi story and felt not insult, but a pull in the solar plexus, a warmth, a strange golden recognition. It is for those ready for the quantum leap to themselves, not as one more achievement, but as the final gracious surrender of the separate I to the intelligent, loving vastness that it has always served, yet never acknowledged. If you are that one, if you are ready to stop driving back into the same life and are willing to let the spark fall into your open hand, then a conversation has already begun beyond these words. My role is not to be your coach, but to be a steadfast companion in remembrance, to hold the space as you remember how to stand on the solid ground of your own being, so that your every action in the world becomes an expression of its effortless, playful grace. My closing. The instrumentalizable world has enough tools. What it thirsts for is the non-instrumentalizable light. That light is what you are, and it is ready to lead. Thank you. Hans. Seville, 2025.